everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 22. Before we begin this week's podcast, really quickly, I just want to take a moment to say that YouTube sucks. And I know what you're all thinking, you're probably all like, yeah, we know. But what I mean is that they specifically suck this time, because right before starting this podcast, I hopped on YouTube real quick to look at some comments and video information, that sort of thing. And I noticed that for whatever reason, my default YouTube Studio thing has been changed to that beta version. And not only does that beta version just kind of suck because everything's all over the place, it doesn't have all the features, that sort of thing, but it keeps freezing up the web browsers, okay? Like, I have a web browser where my default homepage is for it to open up to my YouTube channel. And this new YouTube Studio keeps freezing up the browser. It kills the page. And it sucks because nobody told YouTube to change this. I never told them to change it to the beta studio, but that's the default view now. And so, I don't know, it's just one more of those things. Thanks, YouTube. You messed up something else that didn't need fixing. I mean, why can't you focus on the things people are actually asking you to fix? But I mean, whatever, I know it's quite a rant. I don't know how many of you out there are content creators. I don't know. But the point is, for me, as a content creator, just seeing that, it just makes me shake my head, damn it, YouTube, you just messed up one other thing no one asked you to mess with. So, I don't know. But, rant aside though, guys, I hope all of you are doing good this morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time you're listening to this. I've had a pretty good week. I had a pretty busy week, actually. I've been working on a lot of behind-the-scenes YouTube video stuff. I've been looking at trying to maybe get the podcast onto more platforms and seeing how to, just grow the podcast so more people have access to it, that sort of thing. And leading into my first thing I did this week, earlier on my YouTube channel, I released a video called Wannabe Reviewer Goes to Matsuri Festival 2019. And so I thought I'd talk about that really quickly for the start of my week. So, diving into my week, I have a friend who apparently went to my city's Matsuri Festival, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's a Japanese culture festival. And he apparently went last year and he had a really good time, And so this year he said if I wanted to go. And so I said, yeah, that sounds really cool. I didn't even know that our city did that. And so, he invited me, we went. And on the video on YouTube, it's basically a condensed version. It's a montage of all the stuff that I did. But I just had a really good time. There was a lot of stuff to buy, a bunch of stuff to eat. There was a bunch of different performances going on. And there was people just dressed up, whether it was in cosplay or traditional kimonos and stuff. And I just had a really good time. For anyone who, hasn't seen the video yet or maybe wants me to elaborate more, basically got there and right away, the first thing we wanted to do, because we went at noon, so we were really hungry. First thing we went to this place called Republic Ramen and we had ourselves some pork ramen with bamboo shoots, bean sprouts, green onions, and Naruto, which are those little swirly looking things in the ramen. That was really good. Love that. And from there, we just walked around. We bought some anime stuff. We bought some prints. There's this particular artist called Wiz Yakuza, which if you go to his website, wizyakuza.com, he seems to be at every convention and event I go to. And I love his art. If you guys check it out, his art is great. And yeah, at this point, just looking behind me, towards my wall, I have 20 of his prints now. And yeah, sure enough, there was a booth of his at this event. And so I went ahead and bought some prints, which if you look in the video, it was a Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, Dark Magician Girl from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Froppy from My Hero Academia, and Bowsette because, I don't know, I just thought it was funny seeing that he had a Bowsette print. I know the meme's dead, but it's just one of those things I think it's fun to just look back on. So I bought one of those prints. And yeah, like I said, I would recommend looking up his stuff, guys. I think his stuff is priced pretty good. and the shipping isn't too bad, so I recommend him. Like I said, it's wizyakuza.com. And besides that, we bought just a bunch of other food and just all sorts of stuff. Like in the video, if you guys look, I ate ramen, I ate nikuman, which are the steamed meat buns. That was really tasty. We bought ourselves, I bought takoyaki, which is like the little balls of like wheat with vegetables and like squid in it. That was delicious. That was the first time I've ever eaten it. I enjoyed it. Let's see. We bought like these huge cups that were like shaved ice. I forget what they were called. Like I can't remember the Japanese name right now, but all I know is it had like vanilla ice cream at the bottom, then like a bunch of shaved ice, and then you got to pick your flavors, and they would top it with mochi if you wanted. I got one of those. It was green apple and cherry. It was delicious. Like all the way through, it didn't lose any flavor, which is like really good for shaved ice. And let's see, we also ate Japanese tea cookies. Those were good. They're like really thin, but like really crunchy. They were coconut flavored. They were really good. And let's see, when it came to performances, there was some guys who were playing the, I believe they're pronounced taiko drums. And so they were, talking about like the history of them a little bit, talking about how they're used in ceremonies. And then they went ahead and like played some music for the crowd. So that was really fun. There was this guy who was kind of sitting off to like his own corner, that he had like a stereo with like a little like background music playing. And he had one of those like large flutes. He was playing that. Honestly, like if you saw the Sony E3 performance, it was like that kind of flute. And like that was pretty entertaining. That was pretty awesome just seeing him jam out. And there was also a performance with katanas. It was like 6 different people. They were showing off some moves, talking about like the history of katanas, showing off like different stances. We had some demonstrations of them doing like some slashes through like big bamboo stalks. So that was really fun. And there was like a few different like little bands that were performing, and they were mostly playing, like anime intro music. But like that was really fun. So I had a great time. I suggest that if your city ever has a Matsuri Festival, you should go. And yeah, I mean, like I said, if you guys want to check it out, I have a short video on YouTube on my channel that kind of shows the highlights of my trip to the Matsuri Festival. So go ahead and check that out. Moving on, when it comes to manga, I did not start anything new, but I did dive back into a manga that I've mentioned before. So basically, last couple of weeks I had talked about how I haven't really had a chance to read manga because I've just been really busy. And whenever I read manga, I like to just sit down and like really focus on it. And one of these days while I was browsing the Animemes subreddit, there was just all these posts about the manga Komi-san Can't Communicate. And I don't know, there was just a lot of posts and people were saying like a lot of like major stuff is happening in the manga. And so for whatever reason, I don't know, that just made me want to dive back in. And so I read more of Komi-san Can't Communicate. I read about, I want to say like 20 chapters. And yeah, I mean, I said it before when I first mentioned it. I'll say it again right now. But that manga is really fun and it's really cute. Basically, it's about this girl named Komi-san. And I mean, she's so like pretty and like carries herself so like elegantly and stuff that everybody assumes that she might be like either like very stuck up, or they think that, she's very proper and she's probably so popular, she doesn't even want to talk to us common people, basically. And there's this classmate of hers that learns that it's not that she carries herself properly or that she's, stuck up. It's because she's so shy that when she's around people, she kind of like avoids them, sort of thing. And so he discovers that, she just doesn't know how to talk to people. She's just really shy. And so he says that he'll help her make friends and that sort of thing. And he becomes like her first friend. And so, yeah, just reading through the manga, it's just really cute. I love how the way she's drawn this like chibi style where she just looks like she's always really shy. She's always like freaking out. And I don't know, it's just really cute. Really love it. I think Komi-san is just a really fun and like interesting character. And I don't know, I don't really know what else to say. I just think it's a really fun manga. I recommend it. And I would say check it out, So that's basically all I can really say about it. But I'm just really excited to read more of it. Hopefully, I can continue to have time to really dig into it. And I think it's up to chapter like 185 right now. So I definitely have like a ways to go. But, hopefully I can catch up. That would be fun. I'm really enjoying it. So, I mean, when I get really into something, I really dive in and like like basically binge read it. So who knows? Maybe by next week I'll have like caught up. So we'll see how that goes. When it comes to anime, there was an anime from this season that I've heard it's all right, and so I was gonna watch it, but I didn't have a chance to. So hopefully there's an anime series that hopefully I'm able to talk about it next week. It's something I haven't talked about on the podcast before. When it comes to anime I have been watching, I guess the two that I would say that just really stand out, Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. The last episode was just crazy. Like, basically, these first 8 episodes, they had been really light on plot, and they didn't really give any hint into what the overarching, like, villain or story is going to be this season. Like, they had just been very, like, okay, it's just different little stories happening here and there. But that all changes with this latest episode. Like, something really crazy happens that makes you go, like, wow, okay, like, we're in it now. The story's going somewhere. And so that was crazy. I still can't really believe what happened. I don't even know if what happened is like what we think happened sort of thing. But I would suggest checking it out. And if you can, catch up on Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 before next week. Because it looks like things are about to get good, Likewise, I thought that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure episode 19 and 20... 19 was the crazy one. 20 was also crazy, the one that just came out today. But I think it's 19 that really went in a different direction. But yeah, basically, as of episode 19, we get to see like a glimpse of who the main villain is. Because he had kind of been in like the shadows the whole time. And same thing as like Mob Psycho. Not to say that the episodes up to now haven't been good, but they had been kind of, like their own little story sort of thing. Slow progression. And with episode 19, like, we got a glimpse of who the main villain is. A major thing happened. And yeah, it's just getting really good. And it's at about that halfway mark, because I believe this season is going to be like 39 episodes. So, same thing, If you're a JoJo fan, you should be watching this season, and you should be caught up. And if you are not a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan, it's a little bit harder of a sell, but I think if you just check it out, I think you'll like it. It has a lot of cool fights and a lot of cool powers going on, and the fights don't just rely on like brute strength. It's a lot of like strategizing and tricking the opponent and that sort of thing. So I suggest it. I recommend it. So there you go. When it comes to TV shows and movies, didn't watch any new TV shows. I do have some recommendations though from other people, so I'm going to see about diving into those hopefully next week. And when it comes to movies, I was so close to going to watch Alita Battle Angel the day I went to the Matsuri Festival, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But I am really hoping to watch that movie soon, because I've heard some really good things about it. I've heard it's like pretty decent, and so hopefully I can watch it soon to, give you guys my opinion on it. But as of right now, still haven't watched it, but, fingers crossed, so. Finally, moving on to video games. There's a few video games that I played. One of them was Deltarune on Switch. That became available to play the 28th, I believe. Honestly, it might have become available earlier, but I had heard it was supposed to become available the 28th, so that's when I checked it out. And it's what you would expect. If you play Deltarune on PC, it's basically the same thing, but I don't know, it's fun to have. I'm glad it's on Switch, and I'm hoping that, as of it coming, as a port to Switch, the message changed from Toby Fox saying that he wasn't sure if he would make more content, to now it says, this is chapter 1 and more chapters are coming soon. So, that's a good sign. Hopefully he makes more of the game. But like I said, Deltarune on Switch, it's about the same as on PC. I'm just glad it's on there. I think it's really cool that Toby Fox has that relationship with Nintendo, and I'm just looking forward to more, The other game that I played this week that is of note is that I actually helped kickstart this game a while back, and I just didn't really have a good computer to like run computer games, PC games. But recently I got myself like a little cheap laptop for work, and I sometimes use that for editing. And even though it's like a really cheap laptop, surprisingly, it's better than the desktop I have somehow. I guess it just has like better graphics or like a processor or something. I don't really know. But regardless, I finally got, this laptop, finally downloaded Steam on it, and I finally redeemed some codes for this game that I started. And the game is called Learn Japanese to Survive Hiragana Battle. And there's that, and there's also a sequel called Learn Japanese to Survive Katakana Battle. And I barely, booted up the game, didn't play it for too long, but it's really cool because basically what it's supposed to be like little video games that teach you Japanese as you play them. And so, like I said, I played a few minutes of the Hiragana battle. And for anyone who doesn't know, Hiragana is like the basic Japanese like system of writing, I guess you can say. Like Hiragana is like the Japanese alphabet, and it's basic, characters, that sort of thing. Katakana is what you use to write like foreign words. And then kanji is the Chinese looking, like, more elaborate symbols that represent stuff. And so hiragana, like I said, is like the basic alphabet, that sort of thing. And the first few minutes I played of the game, basically it's done like in this RPG style, where you're like this character that like their town gets ambushed by someone speaking Japanese. I mean, it's weird. Like they don't know what Japanese is. And so basically they hire like this tutor to help them with Japanese, and they're learning it. And you use it to fight like these, like these enemies that look like the alphabet, like they look like the different like symbols and stuff. And I don't know, it's like a really weird game, but it's pretty cool because it's an RPG where as you play it, you're learning Japanese. So I would say check it out. It's not even that expensive, honestly. It's called, like I said, Learn Japanese to Survive Hiragana Battle and Katakana Battle. And, I endorse it. I recommend it so far. I think it's really good. So there you go. Looking over at my week, I think that's all I really did of note. Like I said, there's some stuff I've been doing behind the scenes that maybe I'll talk about in weeks to come. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to talk about for now. So with that being said, let's transfer over to the news. The first news story that I want to talk about of note is that Pokemon Sword and Shield were announced for the Switch. And yeah, for anyone who, I don't know if you guys have kept up with the story, in case you didn't keep up with it, basically on, I want to say it was the 26th? Not too sure. I want to say it was the 26th. There was like a little mini Nintendo Direct thing, and they said they were going to talk about the next Pokemon game. And sure enough, you tuned in, and Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield are the next installments. They're going to make up Generation 8. And it's supposed to take place in a new region called the Galar region, and it's supposed to be based on the UK. So that's pretty cool. And let's see. With that, they showed some footage. It looks fine, I guess. I think it looks a lot like Pokemon Sun and Moon. Like that sort of graphics, 3D, open worlds, that sort of thing. But from what we saw, it looked interesting. Like there was, snow-covered mountains, there was cities, there was forests. There was this like area underground with like it looked like it was like a mine where you could see like a bunch of gemstones, that sort of thing. So it looks nice at least. And they talked about 3 new starters, and basically the 3 new starters are one really good one that all of you should pick, and 2 of them that if you pick them you have no taste. All right, I'm just gonna say it right now. If you don't pick the Fire Bunny Pokemon, then you and I can't be friends, because you have terrible taste, sir. But jokes aside, they introduced Scorbunny, which is a fire type, and it's a little fire bunny. Grookey, I don't know if it's Grookey or Grookey, but it's a little grass chimp. And finally, they talked about Sobble, which is like a little water lizard thing that looks really timid. I think it's like a little chameleon almost looking thing. And I know a lot of people are hating on the designs. I kind of get it. A lot of them do just look like they have like a big round head. But I don't know, at the same time, if you look at past designs, they always don't look that great until they're like really in action. And sometimes, once you see like the evolutions, that's when you get more hyped. So I don't know. I feel like people, if they have a lot of complaints, just wait up. Maybe you'll get more excited once you see more footage and stuff. But for now, I love Scorbunny. I think it looks adorable. I think it's clearly the best pick. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I'm just really excited for this new Pokemon game. And besides that, I mean, I don't know. Are you guys excited for the new Pokemon? Thoughts on it? That sort of thing? Let me know, But for now, let's move on. Moving on, I don't know how many of you have already heard the news, but as this article states, 3 Resident Evil Nintendo Switch ports will appear on May 21st, 2019. So, like I said, don't know how many of you have already heard the news story. I mean, if you go and you look on your Nintendo Switch eShop, you can already see which 3 ports are coming. But for anyone who doesn't know, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, HD remastered, and Resident Evil 4 are coming to the Nintendo Switch. Which, looking at it, it's not a surprise. It makes sense. These are games that get ported a lot. I mean, I know they just hit PS4 not that long ago, maybe like a year or 2 ago. And so it makes sense, why wouldn't you put them on Nintendo Switch? Especially Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 comes out on everything, and I don't know about you guys, but I think that if you are not buying Resident Evil 4 for every single system you own, you're not doing it right. Like, I'm serious. I have it on GameCube, I have it on PS2, I have it on Wii, I have it on PS4, and yeah, you can bet I'm going to buy it on Switch. Is it kind of silly because I've played the game like a dozen times already? Yes. But am I going to buy the game? Of course. Because Resident Evil 4 is just like, it's one of the best games out there. It's one of the best games of all time. So, I don't know. My own biases aside, like I said, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1 HD remastered, and Resident Evil 4 are coming. And don't really know what else to say. Like I said, they're coming out May 21st. If you go check out your Nintendo Switch eShop, they're there for pre-purchase, and I'm excited. I think it's cool to, keep getting all these games on Switch. And I don't know. I know a lot of people are getting tired of the ports. A lot of people think that it's not worth the price to buy these games. But personally, I love these games, and I'm going to buy them. So I don't know about you guys. Likewise, this next news story is about another port coming to the Switch, and that is Saints Row the Third, the full package. So, same thing. I know some people are tired of so many ports coming to the Switch. Honestly, I don't know why. I mean, I think the more games you have, the better. But Saints Row the Third is coming to Nintendo Switch on May 10th. And personally, I'm really excited. I remember playing Saints Row the Third back when it first came out on it was Xbox 360, yeah. I played on my Xbox 360, and since then, I've really wanted to play the game again, but my Xbox 360 is, I don't remember what happened to it. I either gave it to a relative, or I sold it to a friend who wanted it, I don't remember, but I've really wanted to play this game again, because I just think it's really fun, and well, Saints Row the Fourth, I don't remember if that's what it's called, but the fourth one, well, that one has been ported to like PS4 and like a few other systems. It's always the third one I've been wanting to play, because I think the third one is just really good. I think the fourth one is a little too wacky, while the third one is like a good mix of like wackiness with like, I don't know, like that thug, gameplay or whatever. And I've been looking forward to playing that game for a long time now. I've been hoping there's another port. And the fact that it's coming to Switch is great. I'm excited to play it. I think it's great that it's going to come with all the DLC. And I look forward to it. So like I said, Saints Row the Third, the full package, coming May 10th. And same as all the Resident Evil ports, you can bet that I'm going to buy it. Are you excited for it? I don't know. If you are, look forward to it. Moving on, and speaking of people, fanboying over stuff, I'm fanboying over all these ports. Topher Grace likes to fanboy over Star Wars. According to this, news article, Topher Grace, who I don't know if you guys know, but he is an actor best known for playing Eric Foreman on that 70s show. He edited the ultimate Star Wars Saga trailer. So I watched the trailer. It's pretty good. Basically, to like sum it up, it's this like, I want to say 5-minute trailer called Star Wars Always, where he actually puts all the movies in the series together and he makes like a trailer to showcase all of them. And it's really well done. I mean, he even uses footage that was like deleted scenes, alternate takes, that sort of thing. And it's just fun to watch, It's kind of cool to see how he just made this fan edit of all the trailers. And not only that, on that 70s show, it's funny because his character, Eric Foreman, was like a huge nerd when it came to like comic books and Star Wars and all sorts of stuff. And apparently, not only did he do this Ultimate Star Wars trailer thing, but apparently he also has his own like edited version of the first 3 movies, as in like the prequel trilogy. He actually made his own 85-minute, I want to say it was 85-minute, it's like 85, 95-minute. He actually made his own edit where he makes it all into like one movie and he cuts out a bunch of the stuff people didn't like. So, I mean, that's really cool too. So, I don't know. I just think this is a fun story. Not only is it fun to look at his trailer that he made, but reading about, Topher Grace and like stuff he does behind the scenes as like fan projects, it's pretty interesting, It's really cool when you see that an actor likes to nerd out about stuff. And reading about him, it's really interesting to see how he does all these things. So, I don't know. I just thought it was really fun. Just wanted to share that. And I don't know. Like I said, it's just one of those things where remember that even though they might be actors and, they get paid a lot and I don't know, sometimes they seem like they're so different from all of us. Deep down, a lot of them are huge nerds and they just love to do fan edits and all sorts of stuff that we do. So, I don't know. There you go. Speaking of which, this next news story is kind of a 2-parter. I decided to put it together. Basically, the first part of the news story is that Ryan Reynolds announced the new Detective Pikachu trailer that was coming out with this really funny, like, spoof of method actors. Like he's kind of poking fun at them. Basically, for anyone who doesn't watch it, it opens like really serious and it says, like outside the actor studio, that sort of thing. And it's him talking about how, when he plays his roles, he vanishes into them. And how Detective Pikachu might seem silly, but he takes it like really serious. And I mean, you just gotta watch it, but it's just really funny, really silly. He just says that like when he got the part, he was on his way to pick up his daughters, but then he like never showed up because, Detective Pikachu doesn't know those little girls, so, he doesn't know them anymore, which is, I don't know, it's just really dumb. And then he even says that, he tried to lose like 185 pounds for the role, but, the doctors intervened, unfortunately, and I don't know, it's just a bunch of like dumb stuff. But I just think it's a fun video. I think the way he's poking fun at method actors, because, you always hear these stories about all these method actors who just act like jerks during filming and they make everyone's life miserable. I mean, you always hear about all these method actors, so he's poking fun of that. And I don't know, I just think it's really funny how, love him or hate him, Ryan Reynolds does a pretty good job with marketing, Like, he did a bunch of crazy marketing for, like, the Deadpool movies. He's doing some pretty cool marketing for the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movies. So, I don't know. Love him or hate him, you can't say that Ryan Reynolds is not dedicated. And you can't say that he doesn't do a good job with marketing. So, there you go, So, the first part, I just want to talk about Ryan Reynolds. I want to talk about his, like, little spoof video, that sort of thing. And like I said, in it, he says that there was a new Detective Pikachu trailer coming up. And so the second part I want to talk about is that, yeah, there is now a second Detective Pikachu trailer, and they show more footage of the story, they show more Pokemon, that sort of thing. And for now, I'm enjoying it, I know a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but you know what I mean? It's kind of split. There's people who love what they've seen. There's people who love it, but they are worried about the Pokemon designs. There's people who hate the Pokemon designs. There's people who want nothing to do with this movie, that sort of thing. It's all over the place. Personally, I think the Pokemon they look pretty interesting. I do think that they're going for an interesting thing compared to just having like video game sprites up there or just having, video game models or whatever. They're choosing to actually try to make these Pokemon real life. So I think that's an interesting angle to take. From what I've seen of the story, it seems fine. It seems like it has potential. I think, this kid running around with this Pikachu seems cool. It reminds me a lot of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. If it could be in that style, I think that'd be great. And I don't know, so far all the Pokemon appearances got me excited. In this new trailer they show Mewtwo. I think he looks really interesting. I'm really excited to see what part Mewtwo plays in the story. And I don't know, I mean, as anything else, it remains to be seen whether the movie will be good or not. But from what I've seen, I've enjoyed it. I am optimistic for the movie. Hopefully it doesn't let me down. But so far, I think the trailer looks really good. I'm glad with what they've shown us so far, and I'm excited for it. So, check it out. Tell me what you guys think. Form your own opinion. That's just my opinion, but there you go. Moving on, this next news story is one that I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing yet, but as the article states, Disney Villains TV show reportedly in the works for Disney Plus. So, taking the time to deconstruct that, Disney Plus, I feel like I've mentioned it before on the podcast, that's going to be the streaming subscription service thing that Disney wants to do. It's going to be like their own Netflix, basically. And they've talked about before, they're probably going to have a lot of their movies on there, a lot of their TV shows. They're working on like different Marvel shows on there. I think Scarlet Witch is getting like a TV show. I think Loki's getting a TV show, that sort of thing. And, you keep hearing about them trying to make new things for this, right? And so as the article states, there's going to be a TV show that's going to focus on all the Disney villains. The bad thing is that there's no information yet on if it's going to be a live action or animated show. And I feel like that's the part that sucks. All right. If it's animated, I think it has the potential to be good. All right. I mean, I'm not saying it for sure will be good, but I think an animated thing just makes more sense. I mean, if it's kind of like I don't know, like if you've seen like House of Mouse in the past, where it's just, a bunch of characters hanging out and stuff, if it's something along those lines of just the villains hanging out and just, I don't know. I mean, I think if it's animated and depending on how they do it, it sounds interesting. But if it's live action, yeah, I don't know. I just have no faith if it's live action. I mean, if you've seen any of the Disney villains in live action, like Maleficent or the new Jafar, they just look really bad. I don't know. I just don't believe in recreating them in live action. I just feel like they just don't look right. And I just feel like a live action villains TV show, it just doesn't sound appealing. It just sounds really boring, It makes you think of like all the live action remakes we're getting at the moment. So I have no faith in it. I just think it'd probably be really bad. I mean, it could end up being terrible either way. It could end up being like a animated Teen Titans Go, basically, that's just really hyperactive and all over the place. I mean, that would kind of suck. But who knows? Maybe it'll be good, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Moving on to our last news story. It's an anime news story that I wanted to talk about less because of the actual content of the article, weirdly enough, but more because of the fact that it just made me discover a new anime movie, So, like, if you read the article, basically it's talking about there's this movie called Birthday Wonderland, and it has a new poster, all right? And if you look at the poster, it's cute, but there's not anything too special. Basically, it's just this girl, and she's staring at the camera, and there's some flowers, that sort of thing. If you read the article, it says that the tagline on the poster reads, Akane heads to a land tinged with happiness. There she embarks on an emotional adventure to find a lost treasure. So, that sounds cool, but it doesn't really mean anything, But like I said, the reason I want to talk about this article is less because of the poster, but more because of the fact that I hadn't heard of this anime film until I, saw the article. And when I read what this anime film was about, like, that's what caught my attention, So basically, if you do your research, that sort of thing, the way I did, there's this movie coming called Birthday Wonderland that is apparently based on a 1988 children's book called Strange Journey from the Basement. And the story follows Akane, a girl with no self-confidence. On the day before her birthday, she meets a mysterious alchemist, Hippocrates, and their student, Pippo, who both tell her they're on a mission to save the world. Together, they set out from the basement for Wonderland, and Akane finds herself labeled Wonderland's savior. So for me, that's the part that really caught my attention, Like, I hadn't heard of this anime film at all, but looking into it, it seems pretty cool. It's based on a children's book that, from what I've seen, it's pretty beloved, and the premise sounds really interesting. It's going to be like this fantasy adventure thing. If it's like based on, I don't know if it's maybe based on like Wonderland, as in like Alice in Wonderland, But honestly, I don't know. It just sounds like a fun time. If it does have like an Alice in Wonderland type vibe, I think that would be cool. Especially because like Alice in Wonderland, I think it's a really interesting story. But lately, everybody just focuses on like the dark aspects of it. Like everyone tries to make it like really edgy. And so I think that if we can get like a Wonderland sort of story that's actually like adventurous and like fantasy and fun, I think that'd be really cool. And so I don't know, you know, like I said, it was just one thing led to another where I saw the title, made me click on it. From there, I did some research and I don't know. I would like to check this movie out at some point. It's supposed to hit Japan in April 26th. And, you know, from there, who knows when it'll hit the rest of the world. But it's just one of those anime movies that I'm interested in watching. You know, on the podcast before, I've talked about other anime films like Promare and what was it called? I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, you know, stuff like that. And so, yeah, every so often, there'll just be an anime film that I'll see the name, I'll see what it's about, and it just catches my attention. So this is one of them. I don't know if it sounds interesting to you guys, but like I said, Birthday Wonderland, supposed to come out April 26th, and I'm excited to watch it. With that being said, that brings us to the end of another news week. I'll admit that wasn't the strongest ending ever, but, you know, it is what it is, right? As always, you know, hopefully there was an article that you guys thought was interesting, entertaining, maybe you guys learned something new, that sort of thing. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it, you know? With that being said, it's time to move on to the content creator spotlight. And I'm just going to say it, guys, I really messed up, all right? Last week, not only did I not take the time to like come up with a content creator to talk about, but by not doing so, I totally neglected a community that totally deserved to be spotlighted, all right? So what I'm trying to say is, over on Reddit, there's this little community that I was asked to join. I was asked to, you know, share my videos with them, that sort of thing. And at first I didn't really know what to think, you know, it just seemed really random. Honestly, I was just kind of like, this is a bit sketchy, you know, why are they asking me to join them? I was a bit confused, right? But as I posted videos to them and interacted with the community, that sort of thing, I really fell in love with this subreddit. They are run by a wonderful person, which I'll say their name in a minute, but they're run by a wonderful person who you can tell really cares about the community. They're always trying to do, you know, like really fun stuff for the people on the subreddit. And the subreddit is just great, you know, like everybody's always like talking to each other, helping each other out. It's very community based, you know, they have competitions every month. They have spotlights where they talk about different creators and stuff. They have little scavenger hunt stuff. They have like little, what would you call them? They've even had like tournaments that they've put together for like Smash Bros, that sort of thing. And so this community is great. It only has, I want to say, like 300 people, but it is a great community that I think deserves to have much more attention to it. And so the subreddit I'm talking about is the Nintentube subreddit. And the Nintentube subreddit is moderated by a person called Kool-Aid Moonwalk. And like I said, guys, this subreddit is probably one of the best I've ever been a part of. They're friendly. They are very community-based. Like I said, there's all these competitions going on. They keep a track of who like participates. Everybody comments on each other's videos, that sort of thing. I mean, this is the community where I met Omali. This is where I met Mr. Panda. This is where I met Charific. I don't know, I might be forgetting somebody. If I'm forgetting somebody else, I apologize. But there's all sorts of great creators on here. And I just love it because even though it focuses on only like Nintendo content, there's reviews, there's Let's Plays, there's music covers, there's other podcasts, there's news, there's all sorts of things, you know? Like if you're a Nintendo fan, I suggest giving them a look. And like I said, the reason I feel like I really messed up is because looking at Kool-Aid Moonwalk's post about a week ago, apparently I didn't know this, but Nintentube just turned a year old on the 21st. And so that's why I feel really bad, because if I had talked about them on last week's podcast, I could have wished them, you know, like a happy 1-year anniversary and it still would have been fresh. And so I feel bad, you know, I apologize. I'm sorry, Kool-Aid Moonwalk. I should have, read that message, but it's just one of those things, I mean, sometimes I'm busy and I can't hit the subreddit when I'd like to, but all that aside though, Nintentube subreddit, one of the best subreddits out there. It's filled with all sorts of great content creators, all sorts of great mods, that sort of thing. So for anyone listening, go check out the Nintentube subreddit. I think there are a bunch of great people on there. I think you'll have fun in the community. Happy 1-year anniversary to Nintentube. So as always, guys, if you're listening to this, please check them out and please give them some love. They deserve it. Alrighty, and with that brings us to the end of another podcast. That is one more podcast in the bag. As always, hopefully there's something you guys enjoyed from the podcast. Hopefully you guys, had a great time listening to this week's episode. And yeah, when it comes to me, I've been doing it for the last few episodes. Forgot to do it last episode, actually. But for anyone who, might be wondering more about me, as always, my name is Wannabe Reviewer. Not only do I host the Wannabe podcast, which is now on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and Stitcher, but you could also catch me over on YouTube, where I do a variety of reviews on all sorts of media. Anime, TV shows, video games, manga sometimes, movies, that sort of thing. I do all sorts of reviews on media, so feel free to check that out. When it comes to social media, you can catch me over on YouTube, and you could also catch me over on Twitter. That's, at wannabe_review. And over on Twitter, I have all sorts of updates to my channel. I retweet all sorts of memes. I share all sorts of video game news, that sort of thing. If you have a chance, go add me on there. And besides that, when it comes to stuff coming up this week, on Wednesday, I'm hoping to finally put up a review on a little indie game that I played a few weeks back that I talked about. Hopefully I can put that review on Wednesday. And besides that, as I mentioned a few times, I'm just working on behind the scenes stuff. Hopefully I can get new content out to you guys. I'm excited for it. And yeah, what else is there really to say, guys? My name's Wannabe Reviewer, and I'll catch you guys next time.